Why do characters like Guts, Thorfinn, Musashi, and Shen appeal to us guys so much? Let's actually talk about this topic. Why do Saint and Protagonist appeal to us guys so much? Why do we love them? So, the honest factor around this matter is that they are literally very self-insertable and also very relatable. Why though? So first of all, we need to understand the fact that we live in a world where a lot of guys, whether you admit to it or not, are very low-spirited and really want a purpose. And since they lack a purpose, they really want someone who they can look up to. So not only do these four characters, not just these four characters actually, but Saint and Protagonist in general, really help people to have a greater image of what they should be like. They also help us empathize with ourselves, literally. What I mean by that is the fact that all four of these guys are very strong-willed, and what I mean by that is that no matter how hard life hits them, they always get up, and life genuinely hits them really hard. But for example, Guts is betrayed by Griffith, his longtime best friend, still gets up. Musashi is deserted by the village and literally sought to be killed, still gets up. Thorfinn literally loses his dad and still gets up. Later he also loses his purpose in life, still gets up. And later on he is beat up by, of course, Canute's men, still gets up and never loses his way. And of course there's Shin, who literally grew up as a slave and went through a lot of hardships in war, just like Thorfinn. And Guts still gets up. And yeah, as we can see, there is a pattern between these guys. Throughout these stories, we actually see a character who goes through a lot of hardships. Now, why is that important? Why a lot of hardships? Well, because a lot of hardships are going to bring about variety, and we must keep in mind that a lot of us are very different. But all of us though we are so different, we are still drawn to the same characters. That's the reason, because they go through a variety of hardships, so we can all pinpoint to something that we can find relatable in ourselves, and this actually helps us out. And it's not just that factor though. Although we have different problems, and of course we resonate with different problems that these characters face through, the common factor on the matter is that these characters have similar coping mechanisms, and not just similar coping mechanisms, but also the similar ways they actually counteract with these problems. For example, both Guts and Thorfinn develop this instinct where they are always 24/7 fearful of someone attacking them, so they actually will not hesitate to attack someone, even if it's someone just approaching them. For example, Thorfinn did this with a girl, and Guts has done this when Griffith actually approached him the first time. So yeah, Guts and of course Thorfinn are both paranoid individuals, and Musashi as well. And what Musashi and Guts also have in common, as well as earlier Thorfinn, it was the fact that they were very aggressive, and this actually is very reminiscent of how we are as kids, how everyone is as a kid, since we tend to be more impulsive. But as we can see a general pattern, all Musashi, Thorfinn, and Guts, as they grow up, actually become very philosophical and think very deeply about life and matters and important matters. And while these characters think very deeply about matters, so we actually end up seeing them in ourselves, because it is very natural for us as human beings to philosophize. Yeah, you get the word. It's not actually even real word. It's not even a real word in the English dictionary, but yeah, you get my point. But yeah, we like to philosophize our way through life and actually end up making a lot of conclusions that we actually vehemently believe in, and they become our ideals. And this is actually also the case with these characters, especially of course Thorfinn, who literally had an entire arc just dedicated about him seeking the truth about life, and also whether or not he even hates Askeladd anymore. And that's really important, because that is just a factor of why we relate to these characters. So far we have tackled these factors: the fact that these characters go through a variety of struggles that actually give us a medium to relate to them, the fact they all have similar coping mechanisms that all human beings actually show, And finally, the fact of the matter is that, like all human beings, they reach a point in life where they get more philosophical and think very deeply about things. And these are three facts that make them very, very relatable. But is there another factor though? Well, yes, actually. The thing of the matter still remains that a lot of people forget who they are. Yes, a loss of identity is a very common thing nowadays. Even Thorfinn deals with this. However, since people do forget they are what they are like and actually lose their identity in the process, they actually look at these characters and their lives as mediums for themselves. And actually, it's all true to find people who will look at these characters, and as they're reading their story, they actually see points where they look at these characters and think, hey, that used to be like me. Wow. And that actually brings up a lot of memories back, and because it brings up so many memories back, it allows you to understand yourself better. So yeah, so far we have 4 reasons why we all actually find these characters very relatable. And finally, the last reason is very, very simple. They're all badass and very, very cool and have really, really stunning designs. Yeah, that's basically it. With that out of the way, that I will be signing out now, gamers. Bye. Subscribe.